Welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. Feel free to call me Bonnie, and we are here today to celebrate loving kindness as a community. We're going to start with some brief announcements, so let's go ahead and do that. Everything that I'm going to say and more is on our webpage, which is www.venturacsl.org. Or there's a desk out there through that door, and you can go and visit that desk if you have questions. And if you are a first-time visitor, we've got a couple of ambassadors here. They're wearing teal stoles. And would our ambassadors like to stand up and make themselves known? There's one who's already standing. There's another one, Kim. So if you have any questions, whether you've been coming here a long time or whether you're brand new, by all means, just check in with one of our ambassadors or really anybody. We're happy to serve and let you know what's up. We're inviting people to be particularly respectful around hugging. Not everybody wants to be hugged, and it's okay to just say no if you don't want to be hugged. And it's okay to hug people, but just maybe ask first. I want to let you know that I am on a somewhat of a hug-free zone today. I will explain more about that later, just so you know. Okay. We have many opportunities to volunteer. We've got tech volunteers. We've got Circle of Blessings, which is our care team. We've got hospitality. We also have a choir, a beautiful choir, and rehearsals for that are 11:30 to 12:30. Everyone is welcome. And the third Wednesday of every month, we have a science and spirituality discussion group. And the next one is taking place on October 16th. That's all I've got for now. More to come. And I'm going to invite Bill Hadras, one of our youth folks, coming down to give us a lesson in something.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Bill Hadras with Youth and Family. And if youth would like to come down and help me out, I'd appreciate it.
Hey, Remy. Have a seat. Yeah, make yourself comfy. Hi, kiddo. Good to see you.
Come on, Benji. Come on, Poppy.
You want to come down?
Come on, guys. Come sit with us.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Come on.
Do you guys
Come on,
want to
guys.
sit here on the stage? You can sit right there if you like. Is that comfy for you? There you go. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. So a few weeks ago, we heard the story of how the apple got its star. Well, we have one star that is special to us. It's our sun. When we go outside, we can see because of the light from our star. We and the rest of life on earth depend on it to live. Also, the tiniest elements that make up our world, carbon, oxygen, silicon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and all the rest, calcium, I heard that, yes. All of them. We're made from hydrogen inside of stars, including us. You are made from stars. Stars that exploded long ago. And like a star can create elements, right? You have a creative power too. A power to create the world around you. And when you pray or wish upon a star, experience results. It comes when you release it. So what are you ready to release?
World peace.
World peace. Thank you.
To shapeshift.
Shape-shifting.
Right.
Ooh, cool.
Hi, Kaya.
think of one.
Okay, no worries. Did you have one, Kaya? No? Okay. Well, thank you for your help today, guys. So I invite you all to repeat after me. I create my life.
I create my life.
I am a star.
I am a star.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Appreciate it. Let's sing the face of God. Here we go. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. It's good to see you. Your kids are beautiful. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. So as we settle in, we'll have a prayer from our practitioner, Mary Kerrigan. Here we go.
Will the practitioners and reverends please stand in support of this prayer? And everyone take a deep breath. Let it out. As we breathe and settle in, we feel that strong flow of divine spirit around us and through us and as us. And spirit holds creativity and wisdom, the power of excitement, as well as sometimes other feelings that are strong and deep. And I am connected to that. We all are connected to that power, that energy, that divine flow. And today's service is full of wisdom and understanding and compassion and caring. And we feel and experience the depth of love, the beauty of this loving community. And we hold each other in our hearts and know that Spirit guides this all. And so with a grateful heart, I release my words into the law of manifestation and love, knowing that they are already so. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Mary. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. As we breathe in deeply and settle into our seats, resting and knowing in the presence of the one life, the one energy, that which created the periodic table that was so gleefully shown in the children's message. I know I got excited by that. And just breathing into this beautiful, beautiful energy, this life force that animates everything in the universe. Let us know that another name for that life force is I am, or God, or Spirit, or holiness, or love, whatever it is. Let us sing about its grace and its goodness as it expresses through each of us through free will, trusting and knowing that as we draw our attention to it, to the qualities of compassion and love and caring, those things that Mary mentioned in her prayer, that these things, these words become flesh and become part of who we are, who we already are, but we radiate them as we sing. So we sing together this I am remembering who I am chant, knowing and trusting that the life of Spirit lives through each of us. And that we sing this song not only for ourselves, but for all beings everywhere, all humans, all animals, all things that we might call inanimate, all energy everywhere. We sing together, I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. Allowing that energy, that divine love of remembrance for all beings everywhere to fill us. Let us breathe in deeply. And then exhale, opening our eyes as love and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is. Namaste.
God, great oneness, divinely. Good morning. Moving up to God's house. That's where I'll be. Moving up to God's house. That's where I will be. I've got my bags packed, but I don't need them. Been carrying them so long. Everything I need is where I'm going. 'Cause that's where I belong. Moving up to God's house. If If you want me, that's where I'll be. There's plenty of room in God's house, and they're holding one for me. There's a story that's been told. Now it's time to rest all my weary fears and see the glory that is you and me unfold beyond some troubled years. Moving up to God's house, that's where I'll be. There's plenty, plenty room in God's house, and a holding one for me. Moving up to God's house. If you want me, that's where I'll be. Oh, there's plenty of room in God's house, and they're holding one for me. They're holding one for you and me. In the consciousness of God's house.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome again. So good to see y'all. Oh, goodness. So the talk today is to see as God sees, to see as love sees, to see as higher wisdom sees, to see as compassion sees. And I have to start this morning with some news. Last week, my husband Hugh had a stroke. I think he's going to be okay. I'm praying that he's going to be okay. He's currently in the hospital, and we're still trying to figure out what's going on. It was just actually a couple of days ago. And I will tell you that the day that he had it, he's a lot better. He was a lot better yesterday than he was the day he had it. So I think he's progressing in the right direction. So we're all just going to breathe together and know the truth. Some of you may be wondering, is she crazy to be here this morning? Why is she speaking when her husband just had a stroke? Why is she in the hospital? Isn't she in the hospital? And trust me, I would like to be in the hospital, and I will be later on today to advocate for him and to tell people that he really is a super articulate, intelligent guy, that he's not the person who's lying in the bed. But I'm here today, first of all, because as I said, he's doing a bit better than he was, and I have hope. And also because this community is on a shared journey, and I've noticed this so many times with so many folks in the congregation. What happens with one of us is happening for and with all of us as we're finding our way together here through the light and the darkness here on the planet Earth. And both the light and the darkness are beautiful and necessary, and so we honor that together. So my original plan for this Sunday, see, I'm already starting to make jokes. Like, you know how BC, right? BS is before stroke. My original plan for this Sunday was that Hugh was going to read the parable of the elephant and 7 blind men. And some of you may know that parable. I just found out recently that it's from the Jain tradition, which is one of the world's oldest religions. I believe it originated in India. And the story is that 7 blind men meet an elephant for the first time, and they each touch the elephant and define it. The first man touches the elephant's ear and says, "Aha, an elephant is like a fan." The second man touches the elephant's leg, and he says, "No, you're absolutely wrong. An elephant is like a tree trunk." The third man touches the elephant's tail and says, "Oh my gosh, you both are wrong. You little stinkers, you both are wrong. An elephant is like a rope." Now, this teaching story illustrates how our reality is based on our position in it. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "We do not change reality, we merely change our position in it." And what that means is that our perspective defines reality. As we mature spiritually, we realize that our perspective in any given moment is only our perspective and not the only perspective. Even if we think we're right, our perspective is only our perspective and therefore incomplete. And it's amazing to me, I read this in some of the research I was doing on this, that we can be simultaneously right and wrong at the same time. Yes, our perspective may be true, but there's also another truth as well. So we're constantly in this place of holding an incomplete perspective and calling it reality. Now, I've heard this parable probably about 100 times in working with spiritual circles. But recently, I had a new thought about it. And the new thought is this: how does the elephant feel? What is her perspective about all of this? How does she feel about everybody poking at her and defining who she is? How would I like it if somebody told me that my leg was like a tree trunk? The elephant represents God, or absolute reality, and that is the reality that contains all realities. I believe that the elephant, aka God, or absolute reality, sees how everyone defines her. The elephant is aware, and yet she continues to be who she is, free from definitions, a being trumpeting in smiling repose, witnessing all possibilities and perspectives, and greeting those who are blind to her fullness with wisdom, equanimity, and compassion. The elephant story applies to all of us, and the elephant story is about seeing as God sees. So my question for all of us this morning is this: do you want to be the elephant in the room? In other words, do you want to see as God sees and recognize that all perspectives, even our own, all perspectives are limited? And then greet the limited perspectives within us or around us with wisdom and equanimity and compassion. Do you want to see as love sees? If you do, if we choose to see as love sees, it will change our lives. When I was at the hospital with Hugh this past week, I did my best to apply an elephant's eye view. I did my best to see as love sees. When we first went to the emergency room, it took hours to get information from the doctors. I wanted to cling to the elephant's ear, the ear that defined reality as, "This is wrong. I need information now. I am going to raise a ruckus until we get some attention." But instead, with a little breathing and stepping back, a larger perspective urged me to use the time to meditate and be fully present with what was happening, to abide in the teaching of this quote: "Wait without the anxiety of waiting, and in this openness, the highest intelligence acts." Wait without the anxiety of waiting. What does that even mean? I've read before that people hate waiting on lines because they can't stand waiting. They don't like being in limbo, right? But for me, and it may mean something different to you if you choose to meditate on this quote, it means waiting And noticing when anxiety, manifesting as impatience or irritation or whatever it is, fear, noticing when it comes up and say, oh, I can let this part of waiting go. And then the highest intelligence has room to breathe and act. This is from a French mystic, by the way, named Jean Klein. So wait without the anxiety of waiting. That was one new perspective that came to me as I opened up. And then another perspective. There were 3 teenage doctors caring for my husband. I see some of us have been here. Some of you may be too young to appreciate this, right? When I finally spoke to each of them separately, I wanted to identify with the elephant's chunky leg and step on one of them. I felt irritation when the lads kept asking me the same questions over and over again, one right after the other, asking me the same exact questions about history and meds and medical situations. I wanted to say, can't you just please communicate with each other? Are you not reading the dang chart? Please, get it together, people. But the larger perspective inspired me to welcome the 3 youngsters. I wanted to say the 3 embryos, but I don't know if y'all get that. The 3 youngsters as precious beings who were simply doing their best to get it right, to get every detail right. And that created peace and, oddly, greater communication. And then the stroke itself. You know, this could have been perceived by me or by both of us as an elephant's tail just slashing away at us, ruining life as we knew it. But again, the bigger picture insisted that I abide in the teachings of Neem Karoli Baba, the teachings that Neem Karoli Baba shared with Ram Dass when Ram Dass said, what am I supposed to do here when I leave India? What am I supposed to do? And it's written on our back wall there, on the wall of the balcony. You can check it out later. Neem Karoli Baba said, you are here to love, serve, and remember. And the stroke, just like anything else, is an opportunity to invite me, us, to show up as love, in love, and to be in service to what is as it is, and so it is. As we say when we end every I Am Remembering meditation here. Love, serve, and remember. Show up as love, in love, and be love in service to whatever is, as it is, and so it is. Now, this broader perspective, I hope it's helping you like it helped me. And to take it even deeper, as I held this broader perspective, and as we collectively hold this broader perspective, I believe that other gifts are revealed. One gift in our current situation, for me, was a new perspective on fear. So often when things go wrong, we leap into fear like Superman. We leap in there because we think we have to anticipate every single need and change every possible predicted dire outcome before it even happens. Fix everything right now, we say to ourselves. In the hospital, during my 7-hour meditation, waiting for the youngsters to show up and tell me what was going on, I found I wanted to fix everything, but I didn't have to. As I said to Lonnie, our board president, later on, I said, you know what? I didn't have to start drawing plans for wheelchair ramps in our home without even knowing if wheelchairs are a part of our future. And Lonnie's so sweet. She knows all about that stuff because she used to work for the Department of Building and Safety or something like that. I don't know what it is. She knows about wheelchairs and how many gallons are in a toilet flush and all kinds of facts that will amaze you. Lonnie said, well, if it comes to that, I can help you. Meaning that when it comes to what is, when it comes to what we have to deal with, perhaps help in that time will rise up and support us. That's right. There is only the present moment. And I can only do what is mine to do in that moment. I got this from a high school teacher that lives in Northern California. I would imagine that he needs this quote from time to time. There is only the present moment, and I can only do what is mine to do in that moment. Another gift was this. I felt such a strong sense of grace in everything that was happening. I believe that the capacity to receive grace, as I received it in that moment, was brought on by prayer. Not my prayer, maybe my prayer. I was begging God, but mostly the prayer of our practitioners, our beautiful practitioners who beloved Reverend Jennifer notified right away, and several others in our community that were all praying for us. That enhanced my capacity, our capacity to receive grace. And not only that, but the prayer of our Christian minister, next door neighbor and his wife, the pro-life activist who lives up the street from us, and the Jewish friend across the street with a pride flag on his porch. All of them were praying for us. All of them saw the ambulance come, and all of them said that they would pray for us. And then later on, when I told my global community, the prayers of my Hindu, Sikh, and Buddhist friends around the world. And as we learned yesterday from Doreen, one of our practitioners, prayer doesn't change God. Prayer changes us. Prayer changes us. And when we change, everything changes. Because prayer changes our perspective. Prayer is the contemplation of the facts from the highest point of view. Then a third rippling gift from this situation that I know will keep on giving not only to me but to all of us. It was a Mobius strip. Many of you who attend the center know that I am obsessed with the Mobius strip. I learned it in India. I knew about it before, but I learned how a Mobius strip is spirituality in action, because there is a place past the idea of wrongdoing and right doing, Rumi's field, a place where the inner and the outer are the same, and as above, so below, and as below, so above, where the opposites merge into this center of oneness, this non-dual perspective. There is a place where everything becomes one, and the Mobius strip is an example of that. Because if you run your fingers along a Mobius strip, it's like a figure eight, sort of with a twist in it. At one moment you're on the inside, and then at another moment you're on the outside. So the outside, the inner and the outer are the same surface. A Mobius strip influenced me in this journey. This is really strange. This is how I know that God, or something like God, God is such a limited word for what we call God in this center, but there's something present with us. Because hours before Hugh had the stroke, I had this weird out-of-the-blue thought. My whole life, I've known about hospitals. I even worked in a lot of hospitals. And my whole life, I believed that hospitals are there for sick people, that is the purpose of hospitals. Work with me here, it's going someplace. I believe that hospitals are there for sick people. And then that very morning, I was literally putting on my mascara, which I rarely do. But as I was doing my eye makeup, I thought, wait a minute. My whole life, I've believed that hospitals are there for sick people. What if sick people are there for hospitals? I said, what? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Are you making stuff up? Is there something in this mascara? Maybe some people, through some higher design, sacrifice their wellness, so a whole structure of care can be built for them, and people can show up and serve them. And maybe people with illnesses are saints and bodhisattvas in disguise, here to teach the world about compassion and service and grace. I still don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it's true. But that day, as I sat in the hospital with my husband, this thought blessed us both somehow. And I felt like I was resting and traveling on a cushion of reciprocal giving and receiving. Giving and receiving became one. And I was nurtured and supported as I nurtured and supported others, as I refused to yell at the tiny teenage doctors. And I'll never know who gave or received. I guess yes and to both of those. Because when giving becomes receiving, and receiving becomes giving, then we shall enter in the realm of grace. And I also know that there was this unspoken elephant in the room, and that was a state of profound grace, manifesting as exquisite, multidimensional compassion that could not be measured. Okay. So now for all of us today, everything happens to inform us, to educate us, to broaden our hearts, to open our receptivity to the grace that is in the world, not only for ourselves, but for all beings. In this center, we teach the principles of service space, which is that we lead by inner transformation, and that being the change changes the being. That we open ourselves to transform, and because there's only one of us here, as we transform ourselves, that ripples out and transforms others in ways that are right and noble and positive. And so in terms of transformation for today, what if this Mobius grace that I've been talking about, what if this Mobius grace is everywhere, and our only task is to reveal it? Today, many of us wonder about the state of humanity, the state of the world. In our country alone, we are shared, not alone, the whole world really is snared in division, and right and left here are accusing each other of ruining the country. There is hatred between people of different faiths, races, orientations, nationalities, and economic status. Each one is calling the other bad, and perhaps assigning unspeakable elephant body parts to them. Oh, don't say it, Bonnie, just don't say it out loud, okay? In this moment, I believe there is a bigger truth hidden in all of these tiny perspectives that we are claiming to be true. Maybe our universal salvation, our peace, is not about who gets to be president, or who is on top, or who is on the bottom, or who is oppressed, or who is the oppressor, or who is well, or who is sick. Dare I say that the big issues are important, but the real work is done by each of us. Each of us who are showing up wearing medical scrubs, or praying for a loved one, or sitting patiently, or raising our families, or expressing compassion when it's hard to express compassion, or opening our eyes to see a bigger picture. All of these things in the little tiny moments, in the present moment that comes up in our lives. Maybe this is where the real work is done. The mystical poet Hafiz, Islamic poet, says, "For your separation from God is the hardest work in this world." In contemplating this in light of the rest of this message, I see this quote, again, I've heard it for years, but I see it in a whole new way today. And what it means today, I think, for me, and perhaps for some of you, is that we have to stop waiting for the grown-ups to show up and change the world. We have to stop waiting for the people in leadership to change the world. We have to show up and be the change. We have to do the hardest work in the world by recognizing grace in all things, by seeing as love sees, by taking that elephant's eye view. We do the hardest work in the world, and then we watch. Here comes the Mobius strip, y'all. And then we watch how suddenly the hardest work in the world becomes the easiest work in this world. Let us do the easiest work in this world right now. Let us pray. Thank you. And so we turn within with a deep sense of ease and grace and community, trusting and knowing that there truly is one life. That life is perfect. That life is inclusive of everything. The darkness, the light, the good, the bad, the in-between, whatever it is, all perspectives. All perspectives. That life is like the elephant. That life includes everything. And so in this spirit of deeper inclusion, we identify with it, knowing it as grace and goodness and compassion, knowing that the darkness and the light exist simultaneously for each other, with each other, each urging the other on to greater and greater expressions of the goodness that surrounds it all. Today, together, we embrace wholeness, the wholeness of the universe, the health, the healing, the love, the grace, the prosperity, all of that that is ours right now, as we open our eyes to receive that which is ours to do in this present moment. We open our eyes to receive the grace that has already been given, not only for ourselves, but for all beings everywhere. And we seek to discover how we are to be the change in the world today. We may, if we choose to look outwardly and to see systems and organizations that need to be changed, but also let us invite ourselves, our highest self, to look inwardly as well and see where we can change ourselves to be the transformative force that leads us into greater grace and compassion and understanding. I invite every single person in this room to take one tiny irritant, one tiny thing that produces fear in our lives, and to resonate in that, and to see the elephant's point of view, the highest point of view that we can hold in the moment, knowing that this moment is the most powerful thing that we have, the smallest and the biggest at the same time, the most powerful tool that we possessed to engage in deep, life-affirming, holistic, systemic change. How beautiful it is to know this power and this presence. How wonderful it is to know that our spiritual work today has rippled inwardly, but will also ripple outwardly and bless the world around us. I am grateful for this transformation. I am grateful for the presence and power and spirit of God that is in all things. And with a deep sense of gratitude, I am grateful for the capacity, for the ability, for the willingness to love and serve and remember all beings everywhere through our spiritual work. And so with a deep sense of gratitude, I bless all paths to God. I bless this teaching. I bless churches, synagogues, mosques, ashrams, Sikh gurdwaras, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics. I bless all beings everywhere, everyone I haven't named, for I trust that everything is part of that energy that we call God, or love, or higher power. With a heart filled with gratitude, once again, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, love. And I release these words into the divine mystery, and together we say, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
My pleasure.
And I know that I can speak for everyone here that we're very grateful for you and your wisdom and for the sacrifice you're making. So it made me think of when we talk about Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
And how to see the helpers, that sometimes in that lens of judgment, we don't always see they're being helpful. And I think you really just embodied, like when you have that lens of love, that so many more helpers show up.
Yes.
And then we can also be a helper.
Yes,
So it's that
absolutely.
reciprocity
Thank you.
of
Thank
that.
you. Yes.
So this morning, in deep gratitude, knowing that all is well, and that we definitely love our Hugh,
Thank you.
and sending great blessings to both of you, I invite you to repeat after, or repeat with me, our prayer. We trust in
Trust in
spirit.
spirit.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are. We offer these gifts. They are an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion. Our gifts bless many and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways, so that we may give again. And so it is.
Thank you.
My iPad needed to see my face in order to open. It's called Needle in a Haystack. Because sometimes in the whirlwind of the world, love seems like a needle in a haystack, and yet here we are on the front line, willing to be the ones to carry it and hold it and be it. Down on the pavement, sun bakes in, how summer can sparkle deep in my skin. 2 steps forward, one step back, and there in the stillness I found a needle in a haystack. Needle in a haystack. Wise ones say you can't keep it till you give it away. Open your heart, let it all in. That's when you find that needle in a haystack. Now it's no secret, this thing I found, but it's easy to lose when you don't stand your ground until the time is right. Oh, I gotta stay on track, 'cause this treasure I know, oh, it's like a needle in a haystack. Needle in a haystack, needle in a haystack. Wise ones say you can't keep it till you give it away. Just open your heart and let it all in. That's when you find that needle in a haystack. Oh, it's a natural fact. Ooh, that's where it's at. Said it's a natural fact. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. It's like a ray of light in the palm of your hand. I'll pass it on, sister. That's a simple plan. Oh, and when you do, it'll always come back. And you can find and keep your own needle in a haystack. Ooh, needle in a haystack. Wise men say you can't keep it till you give it away. Just open your heart and let it all in. That's when you find that needle in a haystack. Oh, needle in a haystack. Wise ones say you can't keep it till you give it away. So open your heart and let it all in, 'cause that's where you find that needle in a haystack. That's where you find that needle in a haystack.
Real quick, Kim's going to talk about her class.
I'd like to take the occasion to invite you to a class that I'm teaching called The First 40 Years is Just Practice. How your beliefs about aging affect how well and long we live. But before I do that, I want to talk about a perspective. George Burns was asked on his 87th birthday what would be the best birthday present he could possibly get. And he replied, a paternity suit. So let's face it, talk about perspective. Midlife and beyond has a branding problem. But of all the self-fulfilling prophecies in our culture, the assumption that aging means decline and poor health is probably the deadliest. When actually, the second half of one's life is meant to be better than the first, because the first half is about learning how to do it, and the second half is learning how to enjoy it. Successful aging isn't about getting old, it's about living and engaged in fulfilling life at any age. I hope you'll join us as we explore revolutionary scientific insights about aging and longevity, which has actually surprised me in these studies. And the upside of midlife and beyond is more of an opportunity than a crisis. And when learning that you can age well will actually help you to age better. Besides that, the people that show up in these classes, the collective wisdom is awesome. It's going to be fast-paced, highly experiential, and dosed with lots of irreverent humor. So consider this an invitation to join. Your presence is coveted. Thank you. Oh, and it starts October 7th. Sign-up's in the back, and it's priceless pricing.
Thank you, Kim. Really quick, so this is, usually we do have some announcements, but we were just informed that the Pierpont area has another evacuation order. So this is in effect for Bayshore Avenue, south of Peninsula Street, and Marina Park. So first responders are currently on scene in the Pierpont area investigating potential dangerous levels of hydrocarbon vapors. All residents are urged to heed public safety warnings and avoid the area. So this happened earlier in the week, and I don't think they figured out what it was. And so it's probably an abundance of caution. Something smells weird, and so they're just making sure that nobody is, nobody's harmed by it. Thank you, Reverend Bonnie. Just throw everything down. All right, so everything's kind of cattywampus today for some reason. I wonder why. After service, if you're here, we have hospitality behind these doors. So there's coffee and tea and snacks. And if you're at home, just walk over to the kitchen and get yourself something. And come to church if you can. Other things in the social hall and online on our website. Sorry, no snacks on the website, but everything else, all the classes and everything you can sign up for on the website, which is www.venturacsl.org. And so I'm going to go through the rest of this. We have a membership informational class coming up Monday, October 14th. That'll be on Zoom at 6 p.m. That'll be facilitated by Reverend Bonnie and myself. I'm Reverend Jennifer. I forgot to introduce myself. And so if you have any questions about what it means being a member and any questions on if membership is right for you, please come to the meeting. Or the class, or whatever we're calling it now. Another class that's coming up in October, it starts October 17th, is a class called Powering Your Decisions, and that class is taught by me. Yay! It's 8 weeks. It's an accredited course, and it is really learning how we can use these tools to not scream at zygotes of doctors when you're faced with those experiences, and how to see your life maybe from a different perspective, or maybe from a little deeper perspective. So that's, like I said, an 8-week class. It's priceless pricing. If you have any questions, come find me. We can discuss the class. After service, the practitioners will be down here. So if you have anything that you would like prayer for, there is a time to pray with our practitioners. And if you have any life events or something you're celebrating or something you're working through, please come down and pray with a practitioner. The practitioners have white stoles, and they love to pray. That's what we do, and so we love the opportunity. Anything else? Everybody watching at home or here, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please share the messages from here with all of your social media people, I don't know, or just talk to people. Like if you go to lunch, talk to people and tell them how great it is, and share the message. So you know what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You know how to live. So here we go. So we're going to close out with a group affirmation. With everything that's happening right now, I just really want to take the opportunity to everybody take a deep breath. That's all you have to do in life. Just breathe. So with that breath, and with this remembering, and with being in this center, let's all together read today's affirmation. Today we choose to be love, to share love, to serve love. Thank you for our lives. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you, everybody.